I'm very happy to be here. It's a pleasure. It's my first time, so I'm enjoying it. And now I'm coming a little bit with numbers. We saw already numbers from Mr. Coates. Now you will see some different numbers from our study. Women Matter. I hope some of you already know the study. We have done that now for the 5th time. This time we have interviewed 250 companies across Europe, across sectors, to understand where they stand with their diversity programs. From my perspective, I think it's the most interesting study from us, because by not only looking at the numbers and understanding why women matter, but have a better understanding on how can we really achieve that we will see a fair share of females at the top level and across all levels. I think it's very, very interesting, and it's also interesting to see where the companies are. And I'm more than curious to see, when we repeat the study in 1.5 years, to see where the companies will be then. Because you will see there is still a long, long way to go, but the good news are we have started. So starting with the first numbers is, I think you know the picture. We have the leadership pyramid, and everybody is discussing about the board level, the CEO level, and the share of females in the executive committee. That is important, and it's embarrassing that we are there across Europe, 9%. The ones who know the German numbers know that we are at an Indian level with 3%, so I rather like to show the European numbers. But the thing is also, you see that also the levels below, even at middle management, we do not achieve the share of females we see at the total company level, which is here in average 37%. If I take my own industry, the financial services industry, we're even at 50% share of females in the total company. And now, thanks also to the political debate, Ms. von der Leyen is not here, but I think she pushed very much, or she is pushing very much. We see something which I would like to call the West-Waist effect. I'm German, so it's the Westpenteilen. I hope I have translated it correctly. Females normally like Westpenteilen or West-Waist. In this case, I would say we do not like it. Why should we not like it? Because what's currently happening through the debate is that we see a lot of effort, companies doing a lot of efforts to make the board's composition better. And it's also very easy. If you have 10 board members or something like that, you can even already achieve a difference by just having one female in the board. And it's important. It's not, it's not neglectable. It's important to have the females on the board. Don't misunderstand me. But it's only, and it's important for the role models as a signal, etc. But it's not enough. And what's happening is that if we continue doing so, and if we're not taking care that we are really getting the females from the bottom to the top, we will get thinner and thinner and thinner in the middle, and it will not be sustainable. So in 3 years, 5 years from now, we will be pretty depressed because we will see again on not very comfortable numbers. Therefore, we think the principle must be fair share. And you can already start with the fair share today. Many companies have already started with it. What do I mean with fair share? I can also take my own example, McKinsey. We are looking at the fair share. So if I have a certain number on a certain level, take for example at McKinsey Senior Project Manager, we have now 15% Senior Project Manager female, not a lot now, but it's better than 5 years ago where we had 5% or something like that. And we are now achieving every time when we are electing partner, every 6 months, we get a share of females of 20%. I believe this is a fair share. And that you can do at every level. You can start with it when you have your talent pool, have in the talent pool 50%, and have out of the talent pool, the group managers, 50% of females. If we are following this route, I'm pretty sure we will see the difference. Let me now show you where the companies stand. I think there we have good news. We put the question forward to companies 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, is diversity, gender diversity on top of your agenda? And we only perceive something which is on the top 10 agenda, really on the agenda of a company. And you see here it was 1/3, and we have doubled the number within 1 year, and I'm pretty sure, listening to my interview partners, etc., we will see even more in the next 12 months. And the other good thing is, it's not only external factors why companies start to think about this topic. It's not the social obligation, the political reasons, etc. It's also internal factors, because they increasingly see that diversity is a business case. You have a more successful company if you have mixed teams. We just have seen that it might be also in the risk management a good thing. You also see that you are restricting your talent pool, which is not necessary, because you have so many talented women at the bottom, and you just have to bring them up. So there are several reasons why companies have started to move. What have they done? We always differentiate between three different type of measures. One is management commitment. And there it starts with a CEO commitment, and that is the most important thing. Unfortunately, the chair just left, but it's really, really important that really the chairman and also the CEO are really committed with respect to diversity. If they are not behind it, you will not manage it. Second one is quantitative targets. And what you see here is, from our interviews, where are companies today? And there is a number of things going on. So 92% say, yeah, there is some kind of commitment. But then you have to concentrate on the pink number. And the pink number says only 41% think that they have really effectively implemented the whole thing. So therefore, still a number of things to do. This holds also true with the second group of measures, which is around women development programs, talent management. You can have it specifically for women. You definitely need to have it for women and men in a certain form. And also here you see, yes, there are things going on, but it's not enough with respect to the effectiveness of the measures. And then also the third one, the collective enablers. This is the things which you know, where companies are concentrating on. This is about work-life balance. This is about part-time, leadership and part-time, etc. There are great things going on. There are great pilots ongoing, but you still see we are at the beginning. We have started, but it's not enough. And female leaders see it and feel it. We made a survey among a number of companies we have interviewed, and we have asked female and male leaders about their impression of their diversity program in their company. And please bear in mind, these are all companies who are already underway 1 or 2, 3 years with their diversity programs. One question we put forward was the question, do you believe that your top management is really committed to diversity? And a frustrating number of 16% of the females really think that the top management is committed. And to be very honest, only also 40% of the men, at least some more, think that top management is really committed. Second point, is your company culture consistent with gender diversity? Also a very important point. And there's a depressing number of 9% of females think it, and at least 40%. And then the last factor, which made most of my interview partner really depressive, to say it like that, because they were really sure that they have no difference in evaluation systems in their companies. But the problem is, it is perceived differently. And bear in mind, we have interviewed leaders, so we have interviewed managers. We have not interviewed the full staff. So we have interviewed the ones who are doing the evaluations. And only 30% of the females think that the evaluation systems in their companies are really treating females and males the same. At least 80% of the males are male colleagues are convinced that this is the case. So there is a lot of things to do. And you see it also here. Don't bother with the picture. It's a very complicated picture. The key message out of it is there are some very, very few companies on the left side up there. They are the companies who have it very easy. They have a culture who they do not need to do anything about diversity because they are already diverse. They do not think about it even, but they are the exception. Then there is on the lower left side, there are companies, they're getting fewer, but there are still some around, who just do nothing, who think diversity, I don't care. It's a question I don't have to care. I'm pretty sure that they all come in the next 18 months and will start diversity programs, because otherwise they will get into recruiting problems. The most interesting group are on the right-hand side. The upper group, these are the ones who really have made it already. They at least have overall, at the board level and the level below, more than 20%. This is also not a lot, but it's at least something. More than 20% female managers. And then this big, big group of companies who are in the right-hand box. And these are all my clients and my interview partners, etc., most of them on the right-hand box. And they are investing and investing, but the impact is yet not there. And probably you are also part of some of the companies who are on the screen. And the question is what to do now. And we believe by also looking and comparing the upper box with the lower box that there are 4 factors who make the breakthrough. Number 1 is, and I can only repeat it, and I repeat it also with my clients, etc., is you need to have senior commitment very obviously, very visible, etc. It's not enough to be positive passive, because that is in many cases what the CEOs are doing and the board members. They are positive passive. They allow for a chief diversity officer. They allow for a number of measures. They also take a lot of money in their hands. But by being there, standing there, and making clear that this is their issue and they want to solve this issue, they only make a change. And they have to do it because there is this middle management layer, and they are fearful. They don't know whether they really can make a career. These male managers who are unsecure what the next years will bring, given quota, etc. And they have to be convinced that it's not about something to put specific advantage to females. No, it's just to allow for a fair share of female managers. And if the CEO is standing there and making this point clear, it will change the whole thing. And one thing which belongs to it is clear, granular targets. I can only continue. I love numbers, but in this case, you need to have numbers. You need to have numbers at the top level, and you have to have numbers for each level. You should also have numbers for the talent pool. I have a client who just had 24 people in the talent pool, only 1 female, but they have a total share in their company of 50% females. They're now changing it. But you need to have clear numbers. And that includes with the second one, you need to know your numbers. You need to know that you can make a business case of it. Out of the 250 companies we have interviewed, 80 were not able to deliver any data so far because they never look at the diversity numbers. That will change clearly after this. And you can also perceive it as a business case because you invest a lot of money, so you should need to know what's coming out, how many females you will have in 3 to 5 years, how much do you have invested to it, and who did what. Finally, tackle mindset, and that is probably also the theme of today. You need values and rules that foster diversity. You really have to tackle the culture. And everybody who has tried to do cultural transformation knows that this is a very difficult thing. But you can change that, especially via processes, via rules, by changing evaluation processes, by changing incentive systems, etc. And last but not least, now it's coming, it's quality instead of quantity. Everybody would subscribe to it. But I have to say, 1.5 years, I was having speeches, Ursula knows that, and I was like pushing for, please do something, implement measures, do something. Luckily, we are ahead of that one. It's over. Everybody is, or nearly everybody, is implementing measures. It's now about to think about what are the right measures and then really picking the battles you want to fight and be successful in that one. And then also implement the measures effectively so that we will see in 3-5 years our fair share principle implemented. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bettina, for sharing these very interesting numbers. And I think it's absolutely crucial that in a couple of years we will reach better goals than we have today. Could you speculate a little bit about the meaning of flexibility in the workplace and the approach to have more women in senior positions?
Yeah. I think that is one of the key topics. I think we should not only restrict it to it, but flexibility and changing the rules of work on how much do you really have to be present in a company. Do you really need to work full-time as a manager? It's really changing. There are more and more part-time programs in place. And also in the interviews, you see that more and more people can really imagine that even level 2, even level 1 manager could work part-time at an 80% basis and have a better work-life balance to adjust to whatever family and other things you want to do. And it's also interesting because the age diversity, you know, that is coming to us very, very quickly. That is the next big topic we are foreseeing. And what we now see is that companies already start to combine age and gender diversity with each other, especially for leading and part-time, because they have some kind of job sharing models, etc., in place.
Knowing that you are a partner at McKinsey working part-time, do you see that as a prerequisite for women to make it through the ranks? That there's the opportunity for part-time assignments?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, with McKinsey, when I started, there were no partners at all, female partners, well, one. Then we had some female partners, but they were all working full-time. I also got elected full-time, I have to admit, and then I went on a part-time model. By now, we have several females who went on a track and got elected partner on a part-time model, and this is clearly because there are now so many examples, and we now have 12 partners. They all have family and they all work part-time. So we have a kind of a 100% share of part-time ratio in the German office, which is good.
I think we are looking forward to seeing Women Matter volume number 6 next year or the year after next year, and thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.